Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're joined by Lieutenant Mike Budreau with the Medford Police Department. Lieutenant, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks.
So we're here to talk about gangs. Up until the drive-by shootings the week of Thanksgiving, we really hadn't seen much gang activity here. What do you think caused this change?
Yeah, so we've been pretty lucky that the last couple of years we haven't seen much gang activity. So why are we all of a sudden seeing this, this spike? We have 2 shootings in the same week. That's really unusual. Usually this type of stuff is preceded by gang graffiti, gang fights, maybe some minor stuff. There's usually things that lead up to these situations. But here's what we're finding so far. The individuals that have been involved in at least one of these cases, the first case, the first shooting on Dakota, they have a history with us, and a lot of those individuals recently got out of prison. So this could be a situation that we weren't seeing much activity because they were locked up in prison and they recently got out. That's one theory, because we haven't seen much as far as gang activity outside of these cases. Do you have an update that you can share with us about these cases? Yeah, so they're both under investigation. We have all our resources really dedicated to both of them. We have the shooting on Dakota, which we have an arrest made in that case on one individual, but we know that another individual was involved just based on the fact that the shooter was outside of the vehicle shooting over top of the vehicle. So we know there's someone else involved. And then we, of course, have the murder that occurred 2 or 3 days later. That's obviously more concerning because someone lost their life. And that occurred, in the early evening, right before Thanksgiving. Pretty odd case. That was also a drive-by. So we don't have a suspect in that case. We do have, a lot of work to do. We have some theories. We have evidence that is pending that takes longer than people think. So this one is going to be a tough one, but we're confident that we're going to be able to make an arrest.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're joined by Lieutenant Mike Budreau with the Medford Police Department. We're talking about gangs. For a while, it appeared that a lot of the gang members were actually coming in from out of state, but are you seeing more that are homegrown here locally?
Exactly. A lot of people think that they are from out of state, but that's really not the case. These individuals that we're coming in contact with, they were actually born here. Many of them are born here in the Valley. Sometimes there's language barriers and there's cultural issues going on that we have to overcome. So that is always an issue when we're dealing with gangs. There's a large Hispanic population involved in gangs, at least that we're seeing. So we have a cultural liaison person that reaches out to parents and potentially those kids that are at risk. And we also have school resource officers looking for that type of stuff. But again, it's oftentimes what we're seeing, at least here, is that they're homegrown.
What's the pattern of recruitment that you're seeing? Is this around schools? Is it just in neighborhoods?
It's surprising how young these kids are that are being recruited. Very young, 12, 13 years old is not uncommon. And they're usually at that age where they'll do pretty much anything to impress a gang or raise their status in the gang. So usually they're targeting youth that are kind of lost, maybe they don't have a strong family influence, or they may not have a good social outreach, something like that, and they just need something or someone to call their family. And those are the type of kids that we see gravitate towards the gangs.
Would you say the gang threat in Medford is similar to that of cities?
Yeah, sure. I think that we have a lot of the same issues that other cities have, but when it comes to gangs, it's really important for us as a community and as a police department to quickly address it. That's what we've done in the past to keep the gang issues suppressed. If we take an aggressive stance, we make arrests, and we really send a message out there to others that are maybe thinking about joining gangs or maybe thinking about engaging in this type of activity, that it's not worth it, because the gangs here are really disorganized, and that's typically what we've seen. They're small and disorganized, but that doesn't mean that they're not dangerous.
All right, Lieutenant, thank you so much.